Hey everyone, welcome to Garage Gamers Down Under. My name is Alex and today we're going to bring to you Warhammer 40K Battle Report. Today we're having Necrons versus T'au. It's a 2000 point Maelstrom of War game. In addition, we're using all the new beta rules from the FAQ 1 that dropped. So it's going to be interesting from our point of view to take a look at how that plays out, especially with those units that can drop during the first, second, third turn, etc. So what we'll do now is we will take a look at the armies. So it's armies on parade time. We'll start off with the Necrons. So Mitchell over here is playing Necrons. So let's take a look at the Necrons, Mitch. What have you got in your 2000 point list?
Okay, what I've got here is 2 unit Necron warriors, 19 guys in each unit, 3 units of scarabs, minimum 3 guys in each unit, 1 unit of lich guards, 10 guys, 1 ghost arc, and 1 doomsday arc. And I've also got 2 units of immortals, 5-man teams. A bit of a risk against T'au, but I thought I'd break them up and see how they go. For my warlords and leaders, I also have the C10 of the Deceiver, and I have 3 commanders. I have Oberon, I have my warlord, and I have a cryptek. All up, this is 1 battalion and 1 vanguard. So I've got 7 CPs because I used 1 for an extra heirloom in this game.
Alright, so in terms of setting up before the game, you've actually spent a stratagem already.
Yes.
1 point to have 2 items, artifacts in your list.
The Veil of Darkness, and I also took the Abysmal Staff, the Saltek. Saltek. And this is also a Saltek army.
Okay, so both they have, both divisions are Saltek?
Yes.
Alright, good stuff. And the Saltek special ability allows units to advance. And their weapons become assault if they advance. And in their shooting phase, they can shoot with their assault weapons without any negative modifiers because they're actually assaults that become assault. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's an interesting ability. Anything else about your army? What's the power level?
Power level of this army would be, it's 2000 points. It's actually 1980 points to be precise, and it's 102 power level.
102 power level. Okay, cool. All right, so this is the 2000 point Necron army that's going to be coming up against the T'au. So let's go over and take a look at our T'au models. So here is our T'au army. So I'll be playing the T'au. I have 3 battalions that I've actually brought in here. So Mitchell just realized that 3 battalions will give me 18 CPs because each battalion now, under the revised changes of the rules, gives you 5 command points. So 3 battalions is 15 command points plus the 3 command points that you get by having a battle forged army. So let's get into the T'aus. So what we've got here on this side is 3 units of fire warriors with pulse rifles. There's 12 in there with a chasseur. Unfortunately, I did forget to bring my turret. This one actually has an SMS turret, so I'm going to have to proxy this little thing, so apologies for that. Somehow I didn't actually pack my stuff properly, and I thought I'd actually checked it all. Over here, we've got 3 units of Kroot warriors. Each one has 10 Kroot warriors. Back over here we have 3 units of 6 fire warriors with pulse rifles and a chasseur in there as well. Down here we've got a unit of 4 marker drones, a unit of 8 gun drones and 4 marker drones, a unit of 8 gun drones and 4 marker drones. Sorry, I'll have to go back. These guys are actually marker drones and these guys are gun drones. So 4 units of 8 marker drones and 4 shield drones, 4 units of gun drones and 4 shield drones. Back here, apologies again, I didn't actually finish these guys in time. I have three broadsides, one unit with three broadsides, and they have the high yield missile pods and the smart missile systems, and they have target lock as well as their one of their abilities. Over here, we've got 2 units of Pathfinders, 5 Pathfinders in each unit. They have pulse carbines, and they also come with a pulse accelerator drone. Once again, I couldn't find my drones where they are, so I actually had to grab these ones and proxy them in. So they're pulse accelerator drones. Okay, so let's take a look at the command slots that have been filled. So I'll go to my Warlord here. My Warlord has 3 missile pods and drone controller, and it comes with 2 marker lights. His Warlord trait is through Unity Devastation, and he also has an artifact which is the Pure Tide Engram Neurochip. What the Neurochip does is that anytime a stratagem is used by myself or my opponent, I get to roll a dice, and a 6, and the result of a 6, I can actually get a command point back. So he's pretty good for farming that, and the fact that I've got 18 command points and Mitch has 7, I'd say there's a few stratagems that are going to be used, so I might have a good chance of farming a couple of command points for him if my dice rolls are good. Over here is another commander. This is a commander with 3 cyclic iron blasters, drone controller, and comes with 2 shield drones. And over here, even though that the weapons don't resemble it, because this model I can't actually magnetize, everything's glued on unfortunately, but this is a commander with 4 missile pods. That's it, he just comes with 4 missile pods, no drones are attached to him at all. Over here we have an ethereal, and over here we have 2 Cadre Fireblades. So this is pretty much it. If you've actually seen my video beforehand, when I was playing against Chaos Demons, I had a pretty similar list as well. The main difference being is that in that one I had 2 Riptides. I don't have the 2 Riptides in here. Quite heavy infantry list, but I actually brought in some broadsides against Necrons because I knew I was actually playing against Necrons. So with the high yield missile pods, see how they actually turn out. Points wise, I have 1,998 points, 108 power level. We are all the Borkhan Sept. Borkhan Sept, what that does is that gives your weapons an extra 6-inch range to their shooting range. And the weapons that it applies to is rapid fire and heavy weapons. So all rapid fire and heavy weapons get an extra 6-inch range. Okay, so that's the T'au faction for you. So 1,998 points, as I mentioned, 108 power level. We are going to go to deployment on the map. We're actually going to do the objectives, etc. So we'll come back to you once we've all set up. Welcome back everyone. So we have finished setting up the battle zone. So this is the battle zone as you can see right now. So with regards to the Maelstrom of War mission that we have drawn, it is called Target of Opportunity. We're using the Maelstrom of War mission that is in the chapter approved extended pack, so you can actually get these nice mission cards in there. So we're using Targets of Opportunity as our Maelstrom of War. In terms of deployment, that was a little bit interesting. With regards to deployment, we got the Search and Destroy. So there is the setup with regards to deployment. So how the army is actually deployed. Necrons over here. You can see them right up against the line. T'au over on this end. And they've pushed themselves a little bit back. Anything special about the Maelstrom of War? There is a stratagem there called Second Chance for 2 CPs. You can use that stratagem at the start of your turn and before discarding your tactical objectives, select 1 active tactical objective. That one will not be discarded due to the opportunity loss rule. So what happens in this particular mission, once you draw your tactical objectives at the end of your turn, you got to farm those, and which ones you don't farm you have to dispose of. You'll lose your hand, so to speak, and you've got to start with a new hand in your your next turn. So that's the Targets of Opportunity Maelstrom of War. Neither of us have actually played that, so it's going to be quite interesting to see how that turns out. In terms of T'au deployment, they do have quite a bit of units actually off the board in Manta Strike. All three commanders are in Manta Strike, and the gun drone unit and the marker drone unit is in Manta Strike as well. In terms of the Necrons, I believe Mitchell has
5 Immortals.
5 Immortals, but they're actually embarked onto this model here, which is the Ghost Ark. So the Ghost Ark has 5 Immortals embarked on it. Okay, so what we're going to do is go through our turns. We'll probably do a review of each turn as we go along. I'll probably just do a review with regards to the most critical components and bring that to you. Okay, so what we're going to do now is roll off to see actually who goes first. Mitchell finished deploying first, so he'll get a +1 to his roll. Let's see what the Necrons get. A roll of 1.
Not happy, Jan!
1 + 1 will give them 2. And T'au rolls and they get a 5, so they get to go first. Will you attempt to seize the initiative?
Yes, but not with that die.
He's going to change his die and attempt to seize the initiative. He wants to try and get a 6. And no, he failed to seize the initiative. So T'au will actually get first turn. T'au will get first turn. First turn is quite critical in 40k, I have to say. So it's going to be interesting in terms of what T'au do. So we'll come back at the end of the movement phase and let you know what's happened. We're end of the movement phase in turn 1 for T'au Empire. As you know from before, the T'au actually got to roll and succeed on getting the first turn. Mitchell failed to seize the initiative. So what worked for us well enough was that the actual Kroot moved forward using their ability, and then they can actually move another 7 inches in their movement phase. So they moved forward, creating a nice little buffer here for the main force of the T'au. Mitchell did use his Veil of Darkness,
The
Deceiver, sorry, ability, and put a unit of Immortals there as well. Isn't the character supposed to go with them?
No, he can go anywhere else. He's just gone over here.
Oh, okay, so he doesn't have to actually travel with them.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought he had to go with them wherever they go with the ability. So, okay, that's good. Okay, so he can just send people around, which is great. So this is the end of turn 1 movement. So the marker drones landed, Manta struck, and a couple of the commanders have actually Manta struck as well. The Warlord with his missile pods and the commander with the 4 missile pods has landed as well. So we'll go into the shooting phase because psychic phase doesn't count for T'au. So the end of the shooting phase and morale phase has come through. So this is the end of turn 1 for T'au. As you know from before, there's a few units that actually did the Manta strike, so they deployed in their deployment field. So the beta rules worked in that aspect. And this unit over here actually deployed within his deployment zone, but he's got 4 missile pods, so he's got a good nice range on the opposing enemy. So the Balkan Sept ability worked pretty well. It also works pretty well the fact that you actually get to have first turn, because the outcome has been that one whole unit of Necron warriors that was on top of this building over here, which was a unit of 19, has been destroyed through shooting, so not even through the morale check. Morale phase. And the barge over here, which is, what's that called? The Doomsday Ark. So the Doomsday Ark is down to 2 points. So quite a lot of missile pods were actually unloaded on him, and he's down to 2 points. So he is going to be chugging along with reduced firepower, etc. And this transport over here is down to 9 points. So a big unit of 19 Necron warriors has been destroyed, so there's no reanimation protocols, etc., for them to come back. With regards to tactical objectives, hold the line, score 1 victory point if you have at least 3 units completely within your deployment zone. So T'au scored that one, and also overwhelming firepower, so score 1 victory point if an enemy unit was destroyed during the shooting phase of your turn. So we only destroyed 1, we couldn't get 3 or more, so we claimed this one. Obviously we've got first blood, so that's 3 victory points, and being the type of Maelstrom of War mission, I have to get rid of this one. It was domination. There was no chance I was actually going to control all 6 objective markers, because there's one here with quite a bit of Necron warriors around it. One over there with the scarabs I could probably deploy later on there, but that still leaves this one out here, so I'll get rid of that one as per the rules. In terms of in Manta Strike, there's still a commander with 3 Psychic Ion Blasters and Drone Controller, and a bunch of gun drones and shield drones in Manta Strike waiting to come down. So it is going to be turn 1 for the Necrons. They're certainly on the back foot. Let's see what they can do. We'll come back after the movement phase is done. We're at the end of the movement phase for the Necrons. So the Necrons have moved forward. Another new unit of Necron warriors has assumed position up here, and the characters have moved up as well. The transport has moved up. It's in close proximity to the Crute warriors here and the Fire warriors. I guess he's going to unload on them. And the Doomsday Ark, unfortunately, because being on 2 points, he could only move 4 inches. So he's moved just a little bit ever so forward in small measure. These guys have moved forward as well, but the big one here is that Oberon, who is a character, had taken his Lich Guard with him and just moved across the board using an ability, which is called... Mitchell's looking for it. I've put him on the spot. But basically what the ability does is you can actually deploy anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 1 inch away from an enemy model. Ghost Walk Mantle is the ability, and Oberon has to actually move as well, and the unit has to deploy within 6 inches of Oberon for that ability to work. So he's dropped them right here. The Lich Guard are right here in the middle of my broadsides, my infantry, my commanders, etc. So that's that's going to be really interesting in the charge phase, what's actually going to happen out of that one. So we're going to be going into the shooting phase for Necrons. Welcome back everyone. So we're at the end of turn 1 for the Necron warriors. So the Necron warriors had their shooting phase and their charge and combat phase. So we'll do that recap for you. As we mentioned before, everyone here moved up. So the Crute and the Fire warriors that were in that crater are all gone. They died from shooting and failed both their morale checks, so they all disappeared. Over here, the Crute were charged by the Scarabs and survived their morale check. 1 unit of Scarabs is left with 1 wound left. And what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Crutes are sitting in there. And the Scarabs used adaptive subroutines to charge this unit, and basically what that means is that even if they advance, they can still charge a unit. So that's a stratagem that he used. Over here was the big fight. So in the Overwatch phase, this Lich Guard and Oberon charged. Quite a lot of units got to do Overwatch here. And in the Overwatch phase, I think 4 Lich Guard were killed. Or maybe 5 were actually killed in the Overwatch phase. And in the combat phase, 1 or 2 died. So it was either 4 and 2 or 5 and 1. I can't remember how it actually happened. So there's only, and the Lich Guard passed their morale, so there's only 3 Lich Guard left, and Oberon as well. In terms of damage, The broadsides, one broadside took 1 damage, so he's down to 5, and the drones here, the shield drones, intercepted the other hits and took it, and they failed. They feel no pain, so 3 of them actually died off, but saved on the morale check, so 1 shield drone remains alive. This unit of 6 survived, and they're all alive and fighting. The ethereal copped 2 wounds, so he's down to 2. And over here the pulse accelerator drone was attacked. There was only 1 hit on it, and a shield drone jumped in and failed its feel no pain, but that's okay because we still survived the attack from these lich guards. So overall, Mitch did get which rule was it? Sorry, the first blood, yes. So Mitch did get first blood, so he gets 1 point, and from his card's point of view, he actually couldn't farm any victory points from that. So he gets to destroy all 3 cards, unless he wants to use a stratagem to keep 1 card.
No.
Okay, so that's the end of turn 1. We're going to go into turn 2 for T'au now. End of turn 1, it is 3-1 on points. So we're in turn 2 at the end of the movement phase for the T'au. So apologies about that. So what the T'au have done is they have disengaged from combat over here. This unit here is actually in the building on the bottom floor. So they've moved across from the other side back there. So the Lich Guard and Oberon are left by himself out in the open as everyone has moved away from combat. Not much other movement. These Kroot over here have moved up to the objective marker, and the last remaining 2 units that can Manta Strike, the gun drones and the commander with the cyclic iron blasters, have deployed over here in a narrow channel, more than 9 inches away, because they had to be not more than 9 inches away from there, and from over there. So they've got a narrow channel here, but still within 18 inches of these guys that are going to be targeted by those gun drones. Okay, so we'll go into the shooting phase. We'll do a recap of it once the shooting phase has been completed. Okay, so we're at the end of turn 2 for T'au. So T'au have done the movement and their shooting, and morale checks will need to be applied if there are actually any to do, but I'm kind of looking around. I think there is some morale checks that will need to be done. So in terms of the shooting phase, the Lich Guard over here have been destroyed. Oberon has 3 wounds left from the shooting, so there's no Lich Guards left. Oberon's left on his own. Over here, the Necron warriors have remained with 3 models, so lots of models actually have been shot off, but did not do enough to totally eliminate the unit. And I believe one of the warlords in there has an ability where any unit within 6 inches of that warlord gets to ignore doing any morale checks. So that's the warlord's trait. Okay, so that's a warlord trait. That's a good trait. Isn't Oberon your warlord? No, over there. Okay, right. And the warlord here with his trait ability is going to use that obviously onto those Necron warriors, so they'll definitely remain. In terms of command points, I was only able to farm 1, which is tactical withdrawal. I killed off 1 unit that was at the beginning of my start within 1 inch of one of my units. Mission critical objective, I could not get that one, and secure objective 1, I could not get that one because there is this in the way of that objective marker. So only 1 point to me at the end of turn 2 for T'au. T'au are on 4 points, Necrons are on 1 point, so it's 4-1 in terms of the Maelstrom of War mission. So it'll be now turn 2 for Necrons, so we'll get back to you guys later. Okay, we're at the end of turn 2 for both players. So it's the end of turn 2 for Necrons. The shooting and charges and combat has taken place. So with regards to charges, over here Oberon had elected not to charge, so he's staying there, basically forcing the T'au to think about shooting him rather than other targets. Over here there were some charges into the unit of gun drones and shield drones. So the Scarabs charged in there. They were actually shot up as well by these Necron units, which came back with the reanimation protocols and the Ghost Arc applying its ability as well. So everything but 2 models had returned out of the 19 models in that unit. So 17 models are back up. So that means, you know, T'au's got to shoot some more again. So these gun drones here had lost 4 shield drones and 1 gun drone, and used the stratagem to ignore the morale check, so they could actually just stay on board. Over here, these marker drones passed their morale check after getting shot up, so they got quite a few models reduced there. And the commander with his 2 shield drones, the 2 shield drones are gone. The commander's in combat with the Scarabs. I think 1 Scarab is down to 1 wound, and there are no wounds onto the commander, so the commander survived there. In terms of victory points, Mitchell did not have any good luck with his cards, so he could not actually claim any victory points. So from a victory point of view, we're at 4-1 still. And we're going to get into turn 3 now, where T'au will start turn 3. And we're in turn 3 with the T'au forces having finished their move. The Kroot over here have moved into the building, but some still couldn't make it, so they're sitting outside. This unit of 4 has moved forward and just consolidated up here in the building. There's been a bit of movement down here. The broadsides have moved again, so they can actually be in shooting range and hit, because last time they couldn't shoot. They withdrew from combat. This unit of 4 have moved back within range of this guy Oberon here, try to bring him down. And some movement here. So some movement over here as well. And over here, the gun drones and the commander have detached from combat. They've moved away and they've moved closer to the objective marker here, because I drew a card that I'll get a victory point for being near that objective marker. So that's why we've moved in that distance. So that's the end of the movements. We're going to get into shooting, so we'll come back after the shooting to see how everything went. And here we are at the bottom of turn 3 for T'au. So T'au have done their movement and have done their shooting. All the morale checks, etc. have been done. So at the end of turn 3, you can see that the field is quite bare of Necrons. Not many Necrons are actually left. So the Ghost Arc here was destroyed and blew up. The Doomsday Arc that was over here, that one got destroyed and blew up. The commander with the Cyclic Iron Blasters destroyed him. There was some shooting that happened over here onto the Scarabs, but 1 Scarab in each unit survived. All that was left, oh yes, there was some Immortals here that got destroyed, and there was a unit of Immortals here in the crater that got destroyed, and Oberon died as well to shooting, so he was dead. So there's quite a lot of Necron units that got destroyed during the shooting phase, quite a lot of shooting by T'au. The Balkan Sept ability that increases the range by 6 inches certainly helps quite a lot, certainly helped in this one. This is all that remains out of the Necrons right here. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 Lords in there, and 17 or 18, I think, Necron Warriors. 3 Lords, sorry, 3 Lords in there, and 18 Necron Warriors. And that's all that remains. So at the bottom of turn 3, I've only been able to get 1 tactical objective, which is the Patient Hunter. So I scored 1 victory point there. Oh, sorry, I got secure objective 4 as well. So I scored 2 objective points there. So I'm on 7, I believe.
6.
6. So I'm on 6. Mitchell is on 1. Mitchell has decided to concede, so he's not going to take his turn 3 because at this stage he pretty much sees clearly that having only a unit of Necron warriors and 3 lords isn't really going to do much in terms of getting any points back. Or in turn 3, there's quite a lot of T'au still remaining, so he's decided to concede. Certainly a one-way battle, I would say, starting from turn 1. The T'au actually getting the turn 1 to go first certainly helped them because they were able to get rid of one whole unit of Necron warriors during that first go and deplete a I think it was the Ghost Arc, no, the Doomsday Arc, deplete him down to, I think it was 4 or 3 wounds from shooting, so that was quite costly. So Mitch, with regards to your viewpoints regarding the Necrons, what do you see here?
Too slow against the T'au and just didn't have the firepower or the range to get back at you at all through the whole game. Lich Guards I thought to perform better than they did, so wasn't too happy about them, but you learn from that. But yes, I mean the firepower from T'au is astronomical. I mean I think it was close to 200 die rolls in the first turn, and the second turn second turn was less because you were in melee combat, you had to break off, but in that third turn they all just came back with a vengeance. And yeah, it's a lot of dice rolls to try to save against, and the objective cards didn't help. I mean, we had a go at the last turn just to see what I would pull out, and yet again 3 objectives that we could not have a chance of completing. So it wasn't generous for me at all in the card phase. But yes, a lot of shooting from T'au. So if you're a T'au player and you're not doing 200 shots a turn, there's something wrong with your list.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because there is quite a lot of talk from the ITCs and observations across the forums that T'au aren't really that powerful, but that's not the experience that we're having. If you've looked at one of our previous videos with T'au versus Chaos Demons, pretty much the T'au came on top of that game as well. With regards to this faction, it was the Boar concept that was used, as I've mentioned earlier. The only difference with this one is that I've taken the broadsides into the group, into this army. So those 2 Riptides that I had in the other one aren't in this particular list. The infantry volume in terms of the numbers of units and the number of models within each unit is pretty much similar to the last list that I had. So not a lot of difference in terms of this list that I put together. So quite infantry heavy. What certainly did help is that I had quite a lot of command points to spend. I was actually down to 6. So at the end of turn 3, I still actually had 6 command points left. Started off with 18. So burned through quite a lot. Used Focus Fire because Focus Fire was really great. Gets that +1 to your wound roll for anything that shoots at that particular unit that failed a wound roll before. So that does quite help a lot. And that's 3 command points it costs. And with regards to those command points, I did get 1 back, so I did roll 1/6 when I was using the Puretide Engram Neurochip, so I did actually get 1 back. So that's 19 command points that I had to farm off during this particular encounter. So quite a lot, and I think T'au do benefit from their stratagems. They've got some good stratagems in there. Obviously, your general ones is in terms of re-rolling some a failed roll, but the Focus Fire was actually really good. So with regards to those stratagems, Focus Fire is a really good one to use. Uplinked Marker Light as well. Another one that I actually used today was the Repulsor Impact Field. So the Repulsor Impact Field, what that does is you use this stratagem after an enemy unit has successfully charged a battlesuit unit from your army. Roll a dice for each model in the enemy unit within 3 inches of that unit. On a 6, that model suffers a mortal wound. So that wasn't that was good actually. Wasn't bad. I think I did 1 mortal wound onto the Lich Guard though. It was kind of a little bit scary. if that. Yeah, it's probably more scary than that, but it was kind of fun to use that one. And I think I used a couple of other stratagems. I forgot which ones they were. So yeah, at the bottom of turn 3, T'au win this encounter using the beta rules. To be honest, from a T'au perspective, it didn't really make a lot of difference. My commander with the Cyclic Iron Blaster and this unit of drones dropped down in turn 2, so they could drop down anywhere on the board. And in turn 1, I did drop down my marker light drones and my commanders with the missile pods. Being Borkhan, they get a good range. So dropping in your own deployment area in your first turn with a missile pod with such range is okay. It's not bad at all, because what it means is that you don't have to really worry about that beta rule about dropping in the first turn and only dropping in your deployment zone. So from that point of view, the missile pods with range work well. So if you've got units that drop and you've got some good range weapons on them, so don't worry too much about the beta rules. But yeah, testing the beta rules out plus all the modified rules worked well. It was still a fluid game. Didn't feel like any major impact to it. It's just that from Mitchell's perspective, his big question with regards to Necrons is how do they get across the board without getting killed so much and getting into contact with T'au, because that's an experience that he's had to date, where in most of our encounters he's been shot up and it's been hard for him to actually get across the board.
Especially when they're in a corner section of the board.
Yeah, when they're in the corner, when you've actually bubbled yourself up with the Ethereal in there, with the Cadra Fireblade, you've bubbled yourself up with these guys. I've got the Pulse Accelerator drone in there as well, so these Fire Warriors are shooting at really great range and just nibbling away basically at the units as they come at them. And once they get into short range, then they're unleashing their full firepower, and that firepower is going to be at 21 inches. If you're Borkhan, you get plus 6 inches, plus the Pulse Accelerator drone. So a Fire Warrior with a normal range of 30 gets plus 12, so he's at 42 inches, meaning that halfway is 21 inches. So that's pretty good for the Borkhan Sept. It's the first time I've used Borkhan. My favorite is T'au Sept. I'll probably be going back to playing them. Don't know when I will be playing my T'au again, probably against someone else, because Mitch is going to do some more research and he won't play me again until he's done some further research and got some tips about how he can actually get his Necrons across the board, because this one being the first test of the Necrons using the Codex, the T'au using the Codex, certainly the T'au came on top. So guys, thank you very much for watching this battle report. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to subscribe. We'll love to see you subscribing to our channel, so you can watch more of our videos as we put them up. And guys, feel free to leave your comments. Mitch would love to actually see some of your comments in the comments section, especially giving him some tips in terms of how he could actually run his Necrons, how he can actually do them slightly better or better in terms of getting across the board and getting into the faces of the T'au, so he can be a little bit more viable and a little bit more competitive. So feel free to leave your comments down below. We'll love to see them. And we'll see you at the next game. Oh yeah, and Mitchell's not happy Jan.